What's up, my Gravy Flips crew, and welcome back to another episode. I haven't posted in a few days because I've been super busy actually acquiring an amazing lot of stuff to resell. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about how I was able to get my hands on about 1,500 vinyl records for free, and I'm going to tell you the story about how that led to me getting nearly $5,000 roughly in free high-end audio equipment that I'm going to show you guys pictures of and talk about this. It's been an amazing few days, so please stick around and let's talk about the past couple days and how amazing it's been for finding stuff. For those of you who are new to the channel, this is Gravy Flips, where we buy, resell, and collect video games, furniture, and collectibles. I oftentimes spend my time talking about amazing finds that I do to help encourage people to get out. I've spent the past like 13, 14 years buying and reselling a bunch of stuff. Lately, I've been really into furniture and using a bunch of techniques to get first dibs at some furniture to sell things locally. But today, I have a cool story about how I was able to snipe about 1,500 vinyl records using the methodologies that I talk about almost every day on this channel. But in short, I spent a morning about 2 days ago. I spent the morning just kind of briefly browsing Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and I happened to check, and I saw that a guy had posted a huge collection of vinyl records in the free stuff where I often look trying to get some furniture. I was honestly just trying to find some records to or some dressers to resell, because I try to sell about $250 a day locally, because my motto is that if you can do that every day, you can earn an extra $92,000 per year. So I was just trying to get my daily quota, and I happened to see that posting for the 1,500 vinyl pieces, and I wrote the guy within like 15 minutes, because I check the Craigslist application pretty often, and I have a bunch of notifications set up. And the guy ends up calling me. He leaves a message. And the funny thing is, I was actually on my way to a small town called North Troy, Vermont, to buy $1,200 worth of video games, which I'm going to be getting into in a couple of days, because it's a monster collection. And he called me about 2.5 hours after I sent him the first email. He said that he had a lot of responses, and I told him I could be there by 4:30. And so when I finished at buying that huge video game collection, I got to the guy's house, and he ended up having this huge collection of vinyl records. Let me show you how much. Here's a picture of the 35 to 40 boxes. It was absolutely unreal. But this is after I got him back to my storage unit, and I was super excited to see this, because, you know, I sometimes buy and sell records, but I'm going to be looking for somebody locally here to buy the whole collection for like between $500 and $600. That's at least like 33 cents a piece. But the magic actually happened when I started talking to the guy, and Chase After the Right Price always uses this with video game stuff, always using the power of the ask. And I don't want to take his coined term, but that's the number one thing I always do, is I always ask people if they had more stuff that they were getting rid of, because this guy said that he was trying to move to South Carolina, and, you know, after talking with him for a few minutes, come to find out he was like an OG eBayer, and he had like over 10,000 vinyl records in his personal collection. The dude was definitely a whale when it comes to understanding, you know, high value professional audio equipment and such forth. And before I knew it, he invited me into his house to show me what he had in his basement, because he had like 17 shelves worth of stuff that he was trying to get rid of. And by just asking him if he had more that he was wanting to get rid of and striking up a conversation with him, he ended up inviting me back today, which is 2 days later, to pick up a whole nother trailer load of stuff. And when I say I picked up a trailer load of about $5,000 in equipment, it's unbelievable the type of stuff. All right, everybody. So I'm only going to show you a couple of the things that were in there, because I still haven't unpacked the whole thing. But a few of the honorable mentions are, I don't remember if you could see in the far back corner, there were two larger speakers, and these are actually 1950s. This is the exact pair that the guy gave me, and it's unbelievable what people get rid of when they're moving. He said that he was moving to South Carolina. He had some medical things, but like he's being a reseller, he had made his millions, and he used to buy out old studios, like recording studios in Boston and New York City. In Vermont, we're not too far from those two big cities, and he said he spent like $9,000 buying out this big Boston and New York studio, and he got all this equipment and he just had too much of it, and he lost his steam. And like I totally respect the hustle, and it was super cool getting to know him. So Dave, if you see this video, thanks a bunch. I really appreciate you let me take all this stuff off your hands, especially for free. Like it's I'm humbled, so thank you very much. So he told me an interesting story about these, what are called Bozak, what are they? Century Modern Rudy Bozak speakers. So being an audiophile, he told me that these were like in the 1950s. These things are like they're like 3 feet high. They're pretty big. They're meant to be like side end tables, you know what I mean? And in the 1950s, these were the best speakers to have. Like if you were wealthy, you had a pair of these. And this pair came from a studio, and that studio had boxes, right? Because they replaced the internal speaker parts, and I have those boxes. And the guy was showing me how on the boxes actually there's a name and an address to the person who owned these. And I know music, but I'm not really like an older music kind of person. And he asked me if I knew a guy named Benny Goodman, and I was like, no. But being a reseller, you get into like learning about all sorts of different things. And I looked it up. Well, he told me, but hang on, where is it? Right here. Benny Goodman was actually considered the king of swing. So he's like the Michael Jackson of swing music. And come to find out, the box to the internal parts that were used to fix these were sent to his address in New York City. I have those two boxes. They look very nice, from like the 60s and 50s. They're really high quality, and I'll show you guys when I get it all out of my storage unit, But the two that I have were actually owned by the king of swing himself, which is actually super amazing. That I've sold old time record players and old time radios. About 4 years ago, I got a good sized collection, but I've never gotten into anything this high quality. When I tell you all those speakers and everything that you're looking at were high end, like this is as high end as I've ever seen. Another good bunch of them that were in there were a bunch of acoustic research ones. And an example of that is the AR2AX. I actually have this, and I have like 4 or 5 others that are also vintage AR. I know I have the AR5. But what's crazy is the fact that just the covers that go over this have sold for like $170. And honestly, having been to like 1,000 garage sales, I would pass up speakers. But after talking to this guy for like 2 hours today, I'm gonna start like looking on Craigslist for like acoustic research speakers and such, because he gave all this stuff to me. It's thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And these acoustic research, just one pair out of like the dozen pairs that I have, sells for around $500 to $600. Yeah, it's going to cost me around probably $75 to ship them, because they're like 24 inches high by 12 inches apart. But like, holy cow, dude, there's some serious money to be made in the higher end musical equipment. And I don't know if you remember in that video that I showed you a couple seconds ago, and on this clip, there were also 3 totes of studio cords, like male to female, like 8 plug microphone setups. So I'm going to be spending hours probably going through those cords. And he said that there's at least $1,000 in those cords. Like he showed me, like there's a bunch of monster wire and stuff. And it blew my mind that there's just so much. There were speakers from JBL, like vintage speakers from JBL. There was a subwoofer. It was a B and W. It was a Bauer and Wilkins. So a B and W. Actually, I'll just look it up. B and W ASW 1000. Yeah, it was this. It was one of these, and the Bauer and Wilkins. But I could tell that it sold for like $300 on eBay when I looked it up for my house, which is super cool. There's so much stuff. I filled my storage unit, the floor of my 6x10 trailer. So that tells you that I have 60 square feet of high-end music equipment. And his friend, who's a lawyer, was coming to pick up all the stuff that I showed you at the beginning of the clip. So I didn't get it all, but who knows? He may be messaging me in a few weeks because his friend never took all the stuff, or he just has some stuff that he wants to get rid of. That's the magic of building relationships with people. The guy was like a 60-year-old version of myself, like having flipped for years. The dude had like rental properties, and I wish I could like sit down and have like an interview with him just so you guys could get to know him. He said that he used to like tell back when eBay Motors first started, he said that he would tell someone to like hold a car for like a week for him, and he'd give him like $100, and said that if he didn't come back to pick up that car, for the person to keep the deposit and take their significant other out for a date. But what he'd do is he would list the car on eBay Motors in an auction, and if it sold for more, he'd take the money, go buy it, and then send it to the person. So the guy is really smart. He's done really well for himself, and I'm thankful to be on the beneficiary side of taking all this high-end musical what do you call it, pieces, the equipment off his hands. He said that he had already made his huge profit, that he's had these for years. So it's going to be cool, learning about these, figuring out what really needs to happen. I got to figure out how I'm going to sell 1,500 records. My storage unit is pretty full. I have 5 of them, but I've got one of them that's like full with the storage unit, the records, and all this equipment. But thanks for joining me. If you like this kind of content and you want to support the channel and you want to learn more about my methodologies to finding stuff, to getting my first hands on things, I sat down and I wrote a 39-page guide. It goes into things that I don't talk about on the channel. If you want to get that, just go to garvyshobby.com. Right here, it's my website, and you'll be supporting the channel. And if you want my 19-page free guide on how to make $70 a day by selling dressers to make $25,000 extra, I wrote this, and it's free on my website. All you have to do is go to garvyshobby.com, and you can download it from there. And it'll ask for your billing information, but it's completely free. I don't know how to change that. But yeah, that's today's video, guys. And I got a big one to make about this huge video game collection. I spent like $1,200 on it, and it's going to be fun talking to you guys about the music stuff that I'm into now. I own my own professional studio equipment. Heck yeah! So if I figure out that all those wires end up selling for a lot, I'll definitely share. And I'll help you guys like keep an eye on things to look out for. So it's been an awesome day, awesome week. I've also been picking up furniture and doing stuff on the side. So, man, happy Thanksgiving, y'all. If I don't see you for another week or so, but thanks again.